Hey guys, welcome back to episode 2 of creating a Pong Game, and welcome to the Pygame tutorial series. We're going to continue creating our objects today. So we have to create the paddle, or paddles, because there's two paddles in Pong. So let's go ahead and take care of that. Now, Pygame has an extremely easy function that lets us draw the rectangle, or the circle, or whatever shape you want. So this is how we would have to do it. We have to do pygame.draw. So that's what we draw. And now we're going to specify what we want to draw. If you want to draw a circle, you can do circle. If you want to draw a square, you can do square. And it's tons. There's tons of shaped triangles, etc. But we want to draw a rectangle. So let's go ahead and do that. Rect. That's basically it. And rect takes 3 arguments, or you can say kind of 6. And this is what it takes. It takes in the where we want to draw the rectangle. It takes in what color the rectangle has to be, and it takes in the argument of the x position, y position, width, and height of the rectangle, obviously. Because without that, there would be no rectangle. So let's go ahead and illustrate this. Pygame.draw.rect. So where do we want to draw it? We want to draw it on the main screen. This is basically the only place you can seriously draw it. But if you have like a ellipse that's transparent, you can draw it in there too. But for now, let's just draw it in the main circle, in the main screen. So after that, we want to make this white. And now we have the 4 arguments remaining: x core, y core, with height. So we're gonna create variables for this around 1 minute in, but for now, let's just hard code this. So we can say 200, around 200. We can say around 30 by 50. So what y coordinate? 200. What x coordinate? 200. What's the width of the rectangle? 30. What's the height of the rectangle? 50. Now, you're actually going to see we're going to run into a problem right here after I run this. So right here we just have a black screen. So what do you mean? I thought we drew the rectangle. Well, no, that's actually not the case, because you can, first of all, I'll give you some time to try to figure this out. You can pause the video right here. The reason why the rectangle didn't show up is we drew it before the main screen dot fill. So yes, the pygame.draw.rect was drawn, but it wasn't shown because right after it was drawn, the whole screen was filled with black. So let's go ahead and draw it after the main screen dot fill. And right here, whoops, right here, if we run the program, right here, if we run the program, we're gonna see our small little character. Now, we're gonna try to create a paddle, so let's go ahead and do that. So let's actually create variables for this, because that's gonna make everything so much easier. So let's go ahead and do this. So paddle, and later on we're gonna create the AI paddle, but for now, just the paddle. So once again, what does it take in? X core, Y core, width, height. So let's go ahead and declare that. X core, Y core, width, height. And let's go ahead and go off by one of these one at a time. So the X coordinate will be around 10. And let's make the X coordinate around 15. And I'll show you what I mean by that. Y coordinate will be around, let's actually make it half of the screen. Half of the screen. Half of the screen's height. And the width will be around 30. No, actually that's too much. 15. And the height can be around 90. That seems pretty cool, so let's go ahead and now declare all of those and replace them width and height. So let's go ahead and run this program. And there we go, we have our pattern. Now the reason I did X core 15 and Y core screen height divided by 2 is because the X coordinate starts from here. So it goes 0, and then goes 1, and then goes 2, and goes 3, up to 600, which stops right here. And for the screen height, it starts at the top, the 0, and it goes down 1, 2, 3, 4, up to 400. So I want it to be 15 off the left, so we draw an x coordinate of that, and I wanted the y coordinate to match half of the screen. I want it to be drawn in the middle of the screen, so we did y coordinate screen height divided by 2, and the width was 15, and we can see the height being 90. Now we can't really do anything with that right now, so we're going to actually try to move it, but before we do that, let's create our AI paddle. And let's actually right away put in our argument. So we can say AI x core equal to 15. We can say AI y core equal to screen height divided by 2. And we're going to change that right now. I'm just copying from the top. Width equals, actually we're not going to do the width and height because it's going to be the same. So the AI x core is not going to be 15 because we don't want to draw in the same place as we drew our last one. So this one's going to be 15 minus the screen width. But instead of doing 585, we're going to do around 575, so we can actually see the paddle because it goes up in the middle of the screen, and I'll explain that later. So then the y core is going to be the same. So let's go ahead and create our Pygame.draw. .rect, where we're going to draw it, main screen, what color would it be? We can actually make it red. And it's going to be drawn at AI x core, AI y core, and it's going to be going to have the same width and height as our last paddle. Let's go ahead and run this program. And there we go. You can see we have our main paddle and we have the enemy paddle, which is red. But what now? What is this, a movie? We're going to sit here and watch those two paddles? It's like watching paint dry. So no, we're not going to do that. We will actually create our paddles movement. For the AI and boundaries, we're going to do that later, but for now, let's just make the movement. How can we do this? We can do keys equals pygame.key.getPressed. I'll explain what that means in a second. Get pressed. This basically is an event that captures whenever a key is being held down. So if I hold down space, it's going to say, oh, space is being held down. And if I hold down the key G, it's going to say G is held down. So right after this, let's go ahead and create our actual movement. So let's go ahead and create this. We can say if keys. So if we press something down, we're going to go into pygame.k. So it's basically says if something is being pressed down, but now we're specifying what's being pressed down. So the way to do this is pygame.key or k underscore and the key that's being pressed down. So we're gonna press down Z, and I'll say what that does in a second. And now for the other, we're gonna say pygame.k underscore x. Now what do I want to do? Well, whenever Z is being pressed down, I want the paddle to move up. Whenever X is being pressed down, we want the paddle to move down. So let's go ahead and make our movements. Now this is extremely easy if you know Python. You can go ahead and try to figure it out on your own. I'll give you a second. Pause the video right here. Alright, let's go ahead and create the movement. So y coordinate, we're going to mess around with the y coordinate. So y core will actually have to minus equals around, let's say we want to move 4 pixels a second. So that's actually pretty decent. And there we go. So that means basically our y coordinate will actually move up instead of going down, because remember it's from top to bottom. And for our keys, we're going to create y core plus equals 4, because that's the opposite of going down. So we're actually going to run into a problem right here. So we can see we have the paddles, everything. Now whenever I hold down X, it only moves down 1 pixel. Whenever I hold down up, it only moves down up 1 pixel too. So what's the problem? I thought we were doing keys.pygame that get pressed. Well, no, we're not actually, that's not actually what's happening. It's actually capturing only one time. Why? Because everything here follows the for event in pygame.get. And we don't want that, so let's go ahead and follow the while loop. If we just go to the while loop, we can actually now move our paddle. So here, let's go ahead, we hold down at Z, we go up, we hold down X, we go down. I think that's pretty basic movement. I think that's pretty cool. Next episode, we're going to be adding the boundaries for the white, and we're actually going to be trying to automatically move the AI paddle. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next episode.